everybody. How is everybody?
Hey.
Welcome to Transgurus. We are here again, and
Yes.
we are so pleased that so many people are watching this show. And please give us your comments too. We will be very, very welcome. Um, on today's talk, we are going to talk about something which is, I think, very important in one's life, and it is expanding your or our horizons. And I don't only mean in a geographical way, it can mean in any way.
Oh,
So, who wants to go first?
oh
Bobby,
gosh.
would you like to go first?
Oh, I'll try. Um, you
Sure.
know, I thought about that expanding our horizons, and sometimes like, what's the motivation for doing that? Like, why would we want to do that? And I know just for myself, it usually comes when I'm feeling stuck or feeling complacent or uh, I've been somewhere too long and things just the adventure and excitement and so forth is kind of missing. And I think about um, what is it that makes some people want to expand their horizons, because a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people um, um, accuse people of all kinds of things if they even suggest, your children need to expand their horizons or this or that. I've been a public school teacher and a university professor for a long time, so I get a lot of feedback. Like, why are you teaching these kids, and why are you teaching it? So I know not everybody is always in the mood to expand their horizons, but when you are, it's you have to take kind of a sobering look at where you are and what part of your lives are you feeling stagnant or complacent, and then what are you going to do about it? And I think I've uh, mentioned this before. There was a quote I read, oh gosh, long time ago, 25, 30 years ago, but it really stuck with me from the moment. And it goes something like, 5 years from now, your life will be exactly the same as it is today, except for two things: the people you meet and the books you read. And sometimes I think there might be a little more to it, but that really haunted me because I tried to take it apart and say, I don't know if I agree with that or not, but the more I think about it, the more I really do. And I think that that's something to embrace. And so ever since then, I've made it my business, challenge myself actually to put myself in situations where I'm going to meet new
Mm.
people, because I think that's one thing about expanding your horizons is that you need to attract new people into your life. You have to have somebody to help elevate you a little, and uh, and that's surrounding yourself with people that are going to call you higher, that want your best, or think uh, they know about some opportunities. They think, boy, I think you would really love this. And so I've come to understand that meeting new people, and especially people that inspire you and call you higher, um, is a real important part of that. I uh, uh, I For years and years I taught um, uh, adolescents that were hospitalized in psychiatric facilities because they were unfit to attend a public school. And one of the things I just would say over and over again to them is, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Because there's a whole lot, there's a whole lot of reasons kids get placed in those kind of facilities. And a whole lot of them are there because they even as young teenagers, they've already been convicted of murder and rape and arson and armed robbery and dealing drugs and all kinds of things. Um, and and you know that's just one of the aspects of like, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And so when I think about expanding my horizons, uh, finding new people and meeting new people has always been really inspirational to me, like you are. For instance, you're talking about all this globe trotting. Well, I can't be here next week because I'm going to be in Brazil, or I've got to go back to India, or this or that. And it's, gosh, I need to help you to get me to plan some trips, because I would love to go to any of those places. And
I'd
so
love to.
just the process of meeting you, you know, uh, has really, so well, maybe I will, start getting a whole bunch of airline miles and things like that. And then the other thing, part of that was the books you read. It's like, the people you meet and the books you read, and that, that's just another thing that I found is really essential, because if I want to go to Brazil, I need to read up on for one thing, or if I'd like to go to India, I need to read up a whole lot on that. And so, it all goes hand in hand. But I think the first part of it is realizing that you're stuck. And I know, as we go on, we might start, applying this to transition. And what do you do about that once you decide that you are transgender? And it's like, well, how do I grow from that decision? How do I get out of my comfort zone? And how do I do things like that? And so that's all part of expanding your horizons. And I hope that's a good enough opener. So I want to give it back to you, Ella, please.
I understand. And by the way, let's plan a trip. That's absolutely no issue. I'm not sure if I'm going to India. I know that I'm going to Brazil soon again, but I have not met for India yet. Jimmy, would you like to go? And by the way, something else. When you're talking about, preparing a trip and read books, there's a hell of a lot of travel plans, and
Yes.
sailor, being a sailor, it's one so important thing to having travel plans and guidebooks, because that's where you found out where things are, it's
Hmm.
so incredibly important when you travel.
Yeah.
um I have to say, sailing, yes, I do have a hell of guidebooks, guidebooks for the Caribbean, and you go and put your boat and all these kind of things.
Hmm.
I don't use so many travel books when I'm just traveling, but you've got quite a lot of online tips, and I really do like to give tips to people because I've been in so many places.
Yeah.
Jimmy, your turn.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And good to see everybody. As you can tell, we're light one guru today. Raji is at another event. So, but it's good to see everyone today, and thank you for joining us. Today we're talking about expanding our horizons, and in other words, growing our comfort zone. And as we've said many times on this podcast, is that our future self exists outside of our current comfort zone. So we need to grow to meet our future self. And I was just thinking here is an example of expanding horizons. My daughter uh, went to a preschool. I think it was pre-K through grade 4 or 5 or something like that. And then she went to a middle school. So the kindergarten, K through whatever it was, consisted of several buildings, and a small lot. And then when she went to middle school, that facility was maybe a half a city block. And then when she went to high school, that high school took up a whole city block. And then when she went to college, it took up a whole town. And so each time, I remember when she went from the pre-K to middle school, she was telling me that she's going to get lost, and then when she went from the middle school to the high school, there's just so many buildings. How do I find which classroom I go to? But obviously she succeeded, and she's got her master's in psychology, and now my daughter's a psychology professor at Gwinnett University in Atlanta.
Wow.
And so that's an example of how expanding our horizons. And the idea is to keep going. I was thinking, we start off in the womb and we end up in the stars. And that's quite a journey. And so the idea is, and I was thinking about this the other day. Right now, there's always, as long as we have a breath in our lungs, there's always opportunity. There's always a way. But I will say that life on the planet right now is somewhat challenging. And I was thinking to myself, are most people are most people expanding or growing, or are people just trying to hang on to what they got right now? And I think it's a little bit of both. So I know I have dreams and aspirations in my life that are going to require me to grow to meet these needs. And so in certain areas of my life that I do have control over, i.e. fitness, my diet, my how I live my life, my work ethic, my level of discipline, all these things I have control over. I don't have any control over what's going on in the outside world. But what I do have control over is how I navigate through the world and how I negotiate obstacles and figure out ways how to maneuver around an obstacle so that I can achieve the desired result. So we need to grow. I think either, what is the saying? Either you sink or swim, So I think it's easier to swim forward than it is to tread water.
Yeah.
And also too, there's no such thing as being stagnant, because the earth is spinning and the clock is ticking. So I think in order for us just to maintain the status quo, there needs to be some level of growth. Otherwise the earth is just going to run us over. So I think organize your life in such a way that if you can't grow one way, grow another way. We can grow spiritually, physically, mentally, financially. There's many modalities of growth that we can work on. And if we run into a roadblock in one of these modalities, switch gears and work on another one. I had hip surgery, maybe 6 or 7 months ago, so I was unable to go to the gym. But I worked on my financial strength and my spiritual strength. And like Bobby was talking about, I read books and tried to improve myself other ways. And so there's always a way moving forward, Ella.
Yep. I totally agree with you. I really do. Yeah. Growth and expansion. Yeah. I have to say, I'd like to tell you guys a small story. And that story is about myself. When I was very young, I was a real rebel. I knew where I was already at the age of 5 years old, and I knew that I was not going to be accepted. So I was a kind of a real rebel person. I did all kinds of crazy things. Okay, I'm not going to go into detail into those. But I did really quite crazy things when I was very young. And then one day my parents came to me and said, look, we cannot handle you. We want to put you in a boarding school. You have two choices. Either you go to a Christian Catholic boarding school, or you go to Switzerland in a boarding school. And since I already was in a school which was Jesuit school, which was Christian Catholic, I said, I'm going to Switzerland.
Oh.
And at that time, I didn't realize what that meant to me, which is I changed my whole life. Not on a negative way, but an extremely positive way. So in the beginning, I was in a school where nobody spoke my language. It was a boarding school. Actually, there was only two people which actually spoke my language at the time. In the meantime, I learned other languages, but at the time, I only spoke Portuguese. So I had to learn about it. I was forced to expand my horizons. It was a kind of incredible situation, but I learned such a lot. And you know what? I learned that my rebellion was not the right way to go. And I learned to communicate and to tell you the truth, find some of the people which are still my friends today. Some of them I've known for over 50 years. And I just had no, about three years ago, I received a diploma from my, for my 50 years that I left that school. My best friends, most of my best friends, still are from that school, and which is really quite incredible. And but it opened my eyes and my heart to a total expansion of the horizons, which I pursued all my life. And I mean it as well geographically, but not only. I mean, I've learned in the meantime, I learned 7 languages. I've been to about 30% of all the countries in the world. I've lived in 2 continents, in 6 different countries. So believe me, my horizons are open. Wait time. But it's not only that, it's the people. I know people from every single religion, every single, from all over the world, really, which is really, it's incredible. Yeah, sometimes you're forced a little bit in the beginning and you learn how to explore, and and expand your horizons. Yeah, there are people which never do that. Are they happier than we are? I don't think so. But probably they are. Probably by being, always the same, it gives them a happiness. Everything is relative. When I will die one day, and God knows everybody dies one day, I can say that I've lived so many incredible things. I've been in a revolution. I've been in all the continents. I mean, really quite incredible. I had quite incredible life until now, and it's not finished yet. So I do sincerely hope that it's going to go even better. But everything is relative, and everything has to go in. You have to be at peace with yourself. One of the reasons I expanding our horizons is a very incredible thing for transgender people, is because I always get reminded sometimes with some of my friends, oh, tell me one thing. When you were that guy, how did you thought?
Oh, yeah.
I have I mean, not everybody knows I'm transgender, but some of the people that know that I'm transgender, sometimes I got this question. You know, I've got this, and I mean, it's incredible your experience because you have seen life from both sides. And how do you see that? And sometimes it's a little bit difficult for me because I think that when I was in my past life, I was playing a role of what I perceive to be something male because I was never one. But that's what I try to do. So I'm not sure if it's really the best thing, but I do know how male people think, and how they go around the world. Some of them very extreme, some of them not so extreme as everybody. But I mean, this experience as being a transgender person and expanding the horizons because we've changed is quite an incredible. I don't know if my good friends here have something to talk about that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Ella, because um, we first started out talking like expanding your horizons might be kind of an external thing, like going someplace or meeting somebody, or becoming friends with people who don't look like you or talk like you. Uh, um, but there's also that inward journey too. You can travel very deep and never leave your own body. And uh, there's so much in that, and I think that um, part of that, when you talk about being transgender, and I, I can only speak for myself, but I think the older you get, the more you begin to understand the power of love and how, when all is said and done, love is about the only thing there is and the most important thing there is. And it's so, how do I become a vessel of love? How do I become love for myself and love for other people? And so sometimes expanding those horizons are all, it's all in here. And I'm reminded it's hard work because um, especially in the world of religions, and I'm not knocking that because becoming a spiritual person is very important to a lot of people. But so many religions um, have just really morphed into this kind of club where there's a feeling of superiority if you're in the club, and people outside the club are inferior, and so it's kind of a divisive thing, and it becomes a mindset where people are comparing themselves to others, and they're feeling good about themselves because at least they're not like this wretched sinner over here from whoever. And people say all kinds of vile things about people that are different from them, and so uh, a lot of people are trapped in that kind of attitude of just comparing themselves, and the importance of having a demographic that they can feel superior to. And of course, is in our little world of LGBTQ people, we're a hot target right now for that. And so, how do I how do I how do I become a vessel of love when there's kind of more people than ever that are a little hostile? And so I think about that a lot. But one thing is, it's I think to really expanding your horizons is that you have to quit comparing yourself to other people, and you have to do the hard work of becoming a better person than you were yesterday. And I, I, I talk about just getting these little nuggets of wisdom here and there, and just collecting them all my life. And and one of the ones I got was from Phil Jackson, the coach of the Chicago Bulls, when Michael Jordan was playing for the Bulls, and they were winning just all of these world championships one after the other. And people were asking Phil Jackson about his coaching philosophy. And he says, well, I just ask my players when they come to practice, I just ask them to leave practice 1% better in any aspect of their game than they were yesterday. And so maybe that's how quickly they can run baseline to baseline, or how many foul shoots they can shoot before they miss, or how many 3-pointers. And it was like, that was all he asked of his players. I just want you to come to practice, and when you leave here, I just need you to be 1% better than you were yesterday. And, that is such an easy target when you think about just becoming 1% better in any aspect of my life than I was yesterday. And the cool thing about that is, 365 days, you're gonna be really different by the end of the year. And so I have learned that there is a whole lot of value when it comes to expanding your horizons and expanding your inner horizons. It's like you can, C.S. Lewis said it beautiful, further up and further in. And that's another way of expanding your horizons, by going further up and further in, and never really getting out of your own spirit and your own heart, with the mission of being more of an instrument of love. That's really what it is. I just I talk about the importance to me of meeting new people. Well, I want to, when I meet them, I want them to be really glad they met me, and there's an aspect of love to that. It's like, I want to show them kindness and respect and personal attention, and choose to be loving and kind to them. And so um, that's that's another way you can expand your horizons without ever leaving your neighborhood, really. Anyhow, back to you. Okay.
By the way, when you were talking about, about meeting new people, and there is a kind of a proverb in Portugal which says, kind of a say, it says that if tell me who we go with, and I'll tell you who you are. That is really, and that is an old thing. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Yeah.
correct, yeah, absolutely the same. Jeannie,
Yeah, some really good stuff I'm hearing.
hmm,
So we're talking about um, expansion of consciousness, and uh, there's a substance called ayahuasca. I'm sure we've all heard of it.
Yes, yes.
I've never experienced it. I would like to at some point. I have spoken to some of my friends who've um, uh, it's like a weekend experience. It's administered by several shamans, and it's more of uh, a a journey deep within your own consciousness.
hmm,
And that's interesting. Back in the day, kids used LSD and stuff like that to try to, expand their brain and their consciousness. But I think as a society, myself personally, I think getting back to fitness, when I'm 3/4 of the way through an intense workout, I do believe there are barriers that are broken. You know, uh, a heart. Here, let me just hang on one second. For my closing comment, I'm just going to read this
go ahead.
because this kind of talks about. Um, it'll take me maybe 40 seconds to read this, but this is what we're talking about here. And using fitness as a mechanism to expand our consciousness. A workout is 25% perspiration and
Hmm.
75% determination.
It's
Stated another way, it is 1 part physical exertion and 3 parts self-discipline. Doing it is easy once you get started. A workout makes you A workout makes you better today than you were yesterday. It strengthens the body, relaxes the mind, and toughens the spirit. When we work out regularly, our problems diminish and our confidence grows. A workout is a personal triumph over laziness and procrastination. It is the badge of a winner, the mark of an organized, goal-oriented person who has taken charge of their destiny. A workout is a wise use of time and an investment in excellence. It is a way of preparing for life's challenges and proving to yourself that you have what it takes to do what is necessary. This is another really good point right here. A workout is a key that helps unlock the door to opportunity and success. Hidden within each of us is an extraordinary force. Physical and mental fitness are the triggers that release it. A workout is a form of rebirth. When we finish a good workout, we don't simply feel better, we feel better about ourselves. So those are kind of sums up in out of the different modalities of how a person can grow, how fitness can unlock, release the chains around our own brain.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got the confidence, or if you've got the wherewithal to walk into a gym, I guarantee you can walk into any room on the planet. Because a lot of folks are intimidated going to gym. All those folks that are in shape in the gym weren't born that way. You know, you have to work at it. You have to start at first base to make it to the home plate. So it's a process. And I remember years ago, like, Jimmy, I'm going to go to the gym with you, but no, it's too crowded. I'll feel out of place. Come on. You know, the only way to, Aristotle said you learn how to play the flute by playing the flute. So all these, all these folks that are famous or whatever, they didn't start off that way.
Yeah.
You know, you build up to it. And so same at the gym. If you can walk into a gym, you can walk into any room. So some good stuff today. Good stuff. And this is, I carry in my briefcase from my business, I carry a file and I have some of these, I keep some of these with me.
Okay.
Because I review them from time to time. And it's motivating. It kind of helps you keep yourself on track, because all of us, you know, we can be distracted. There's temptations, you know. So when I feel like maybe I don't feel like doing something, I'll read that. Or it's reassuring. It's reinforcing. It's reinforcing. And so live our life, like what Bobby was saying, live our lives in such a way that every day we wake up, we are a new and improved version of ourselves. That's that 1%. That's that 1%. I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With those words, yeah. I don't know if everybody is 100% behind you for the gym, but you know, there's other things as well where you find your own happiness. I think that is probably the way to do it. You know.
The idea is to just move,
Yeah.
whether you go on walks, jog, swim,
Correct.
engage in tennis, you know, racquetball, pickleball's becoming popular. All these things are modalities that can get us to that point. It doesn't have to be picking up weight. Yoga is a good one, you know, aerobics and other, step classes and whatnot that you can go to that are like a group oriented with a leader in the front, you know, or even getting on a bicycle and going for a bike ride. You know, the idea is to just move.
Yeah.
The human body's designed to move. And so many of us have sedimentary lifestyles where, you know, we're in front of a computer all day or something like that, man. That's not good.
No.
You know, we're designed to move.
Yeah. yeah, move as well in the spiritual sense, I'm sure. Yeah, I think with those worlds we had I think a really great um Transguru session. We'll be here next week again. I don't know if you guys have something else to say, but I think we say bye-bye. Bye. See you.
Bye-bye.
Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you for listening and being with us. Bye.